Hi, it's Dia. Today I'm going to show you some blending and shading techniques using Fabre-Castell pencils. They're actually polychromos pencils. Now the first thing I'm going to show you is shading and actually coloring with just one color. Now I wanted to show you this because not everybody has an endless supply of pencils. Some only have a set of 24 or even 12. Now you can still get really beautiful effects with a limited amount of supplies. Now what I'm doing here is showing you that with a very light touch in the beginning, you can go over and over and achieve relatively dramatic results. Now the edges here are deep. It's the same color, but rather than pushing very hard, I just go over the area again and again, because if you push too hard, something happens called burnishing, and I will tell you about that later, but that's not what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm just trying to achieve a gradation of pink. Now I'm also going to color the leaf pink too, because it gives a really interesting, almost modern, kind of like a 60s look. Like laughing. Now the next flower that I'm going to color, I'm simply going to use multiple pencils. And I'm going quicker on these than I normally would. Normally I would take my time and I would make little tiny circles. But for the sake of the video, and I don't want to bore everybody, I just want to show you what I'm doing. Now here I'm using pink, and then I moved over to a lighter violet. And I just want to demonstrate how you can blend the colors together. Like right here, I'm going over the pink. And now I'm going to take the pink. And I'm even going to go darker in certain areas and lighter in certain areas, and then blend the pink over the violet. Now, you can recreate nature. It's fine if you have an idea of a flower that you already know exists. Go for it. But in this picture I'm adding orange. I'm even putting the orange over the purple, and it's fine. You can make anything you like, and if you have a light enough touch, the colors blend seamlessly, and it actually adds for a really nice depth and dimension in the picture. Now here I'm adding a light green to the leaf, and I'm going to eventually add a darker color over by where the petal is, just for a little variety. Now I'm adding more purple over the top and a little bit of contours. So that's the demo of the multiple pencils. Now the next one, I'm going to use the same pink that I used on the first flower for a reason. I'm just filling it in quickly because what I'm going to do is blend using a tortillon, and some people call them stumps, or just simple blender sticks. You can get them anywhere. Art Supplies, Michael's, AC Moore. Okay, so once you have your color laid down, you take the blender stick, which I'll show you in a second, and you're just going to rub gently over the top. Now in this case I'm going to go over everything. Now you can see how it's a very different look. It becomes much smoother, the colors look creamier, and depending on the color you use, sometimes people think that it even looks more vibrant. I'm just going to fill in the leaf, blend out the leaf, and then the next one I'm going to show you is the burnishing technique that I talked about earlier. Now in the first petal I'm going to go light, and I'm going to go light again on the second, but then go over it with much more pressure. Now as you can see, it causes it to be much brighter, much more pigment gets applied to the paper, and what also happens is that it flattens out the tooth of the paper and it becomes shiny. Now polychromos pencils are oil-based, so there's no wax bloom. You can go over and over without a problem. but it's a definite look. And depending on what kind of colors you use and what your desired outcome is, you can push as hard as you want. Now you can use a pencil to burnish, you can use the same color, or you can use a burnishing stick, or some people even use white. Now here's a little piece of plastic, and here are Tombow watercolor markers. I put a little bit of that marker, that pink, on the plastic, and then I'm going to use the clear, pick up some of that pink, and almost paint with these watercolor markers. Now when you pick up that color, it starts to wear off, so you have to pick up more. So when you start to do it, you want to color the places first that you want the darkest. Now this one ends up looking pretty much like a dogwood flower from a dogwood tree, and then I'm going to pick up the same color that I used, and then I'm going to add some detail. Now for the little leaf, I'm going to fill it in with a teal. I'm going to use the same teal on that little piece of plastic that you can't see right now, and pick it up again with that same clear marker and fill in the other side. Now it's the same color, but you can see how much lighter it is. Really nice effects. The next flower I'm going to fill in quickly again because I'm going to show you how to use a solvent. Now this can either be mineral spirits or odorless terpenoid, and it basically blends it in, kind of like a watercolor pencil would. So I took the terpenoid, I put some cotton balls in a little dish. Now I'm going to take this tortillon, dip it in, and you can see that I picked up some of the color, some of the product, and I'm going to quickly blend that for you. And you can see how much more vibrant and how it smooths all the color together. And it's a very different look. Now I'm going to take the other side and do the leaf. Really pretty effect. I'm going to go back in. That terpenoid dries really fast, and I'm just going to add even some more details. Now the next flower, I'm going to add shadows using a very fine liner pencil. Now in this case it's a Staedtler pencil, and what I'm going to do is make very tiny dots very close together. You can add dimension, you can add lines, you can add shadows. In this case I'm adding some depth to the leaves, and I'm adding not quite motion, but like little crevices, and then I'm going to go over the whole thing with that tangerine colored pencil. Now the pens that I use are waterproof, so if you go over it with the terpenoid, it's going to stay. Well, they're waterproof and they're pretty much smudge proof too, because as you can see, once they dry, they're stuck. So that adds a really nice look. You can change things any way you like. Go back in, and I'm adding color to the shadowed areas that I created. So you can really personalize your coloring books. Now this last flower was an interesting experiment, and what I wanted to show you was white markers, white opaque markers, or even a gel pen over the top of a darker pencil. Now this can be indicative of a highlight, or maybe a little drop of water, or even certain little tiny filaments coming off the flower. But what I did is I blended it with the tortillon first, dipped in the terpenoid, and I didn't test whether these products would work. So here's the Recollections pencil, and here's a gel pen, and I tried to color over it, and as you can see, it didn't quite work. It gave a little bit of a shadow, but not enough to really have the impact like I wanted. So I started to test it on some of the other flowers also. So I would recommend that if you're going to use it, just use it over the pencils and you'll have much better results. So I want to thank you very much for stopping by. Look for my new book coming out soon, Coloring Dreams, and please like the video if you did like it. Bye!